Welcome to the Narcissist Slayers, a podcast focusing on recovery from narcissistic abuse. I'm your co-host, Hope J.
And I'm your co-host, Lynn Catalano.
And we are both survivors of narcissistic abuse. I am also an attorney working with survivors of narcissistic abuse and the founder and president of the Center for Hope of Western New York.
I'm an attorney, a narcissistic abuse coach, and the author of Wrecking Ball Relationships: How to Identify, Live With, or Leave the Narcissist in Your Life. Learn more about me at lynncatalano.com.
At the Center for Hope, we offer hope, help, and healing from narcissistic abuse. We are a nonprofit organization with a mission to provide legal advocacy, mental health support, financial advisement, and holistic healing services to help you down the path from victim to survivor.
You can find out more about our services by checking out our website, centerforhopewny.org. And please follow us on all platforms of social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Center for Hope WNY for helpful information about recovery from narcissistic abuse.
Hello and welcome back to the Narcissist Slayers. I'm your co-host, Hope J.
And I'm your co-host, Lynn Catalano.
And welcome to the holiday edition of the Narcissist Slayers. We're very excited to talk to you today about a topic that I think everyone is interested in and everybody is bracing for, which is how to deal with the narcissist during the holidays and the ways that narcissists manipulate you during the holidays, which is, that's the topic I think that everyone thinks about and worries about and causes a lot of stress and anxiety for people during the holiday season. So first and foremost, though, I want to remind people that the Center for Hope of Western New York is having a fundraiser to support survivors of narcissistic abuse all through the month of December through early January. We're going to be choosing winners. And we are auctioning off, or actually you can buy raffle tickets, and we're auctioning off 3 gorgeous lighthouse photos that we did show you guys in our last during our last podcast. So you can check that out on our YouTube channel. Raffle tickets are only $20 and all the money is going to support a good cause. So if you want to check it out, it's at centerforhopewny.org and you can find our Give Butter link to the raffle right on the website.
Wonderful.
Okay, so we're going to jump right into this. I think this is my third, because I did a podcast on narcissists in the holidays and how to avoid the holiday hoover maneuver. So that's one of the earlier podcasts. And then last year, Lynn, we also did so it's become an annual thing.
Listen, I think it's an important topic. And I think that what people sometimes realize and sometimes don't, sometimes they need to see or hear something like this to recognize that there's that one family member, there's that one person in your life, whether it's a romantic relationship or not, that just ruins every holiday and every family gathering, every special occasion. You know, I don't use this phrase frequently, but when I was writing my book, someone said this to me. I interviewed a lot of people when I was writing my book, and they said that whenever this person shows up, it's like turds in the punch bowl. And I think that that is a really good statement for what you feel like when this happens. I know I've said this before, and I'm not gonna dwell on it because we have some good information today. But for me personally, my father ruined every Thanksgiving at my mother's family's house. It wasn't a question of if he was going to have a narcissistic rage storm, it was when. And, you know, it affects everyone. It brings down the whole mood, the morale, everything in the room. This great gathering and celebratory occasion becomes really upsetting, and everyone is punished for their lack of...
Sure. That's the thing. It's like, it can take a lot of forms. Yeah. So if you're just kind of dealing with this person at the holidays as, you know, maybe it's an extended family member or a relative or the husband of your sister or something.
Right.
That's one thing.
Right.
There's ways that you can kind of work around that. But if this is your significant other, this is someone who you have to plan around the entire holiday season having to deal with this person's mood swings and treatment of you, and or you're going through a divorce or separation with somebody like this, which a lot of people who are listening to this podcast, I'm sure, are going through some sort of a divorce or separation or having to deal with custody agreements during this time. Let me tell you something. This is the time that they amp it up and make it, even more difficult than usual, which is hard to imagine because they're difficult all the time. But the holidays is it's when it's their time to shine. And because they know that they can. This is another way to trigger you, another way to harm you, particularly when kids are involved.
Well, and it's not about the kids. It's not about the holidays. It's about beating you.
Well, yes. Well, it's about them.
It's about them.
It's about them.
Yes.
So let's not make any mistake. Everything's about them. Whether if you think it's about you, it's not about you. It's about them. Whether you think it's about the kids, it's not about the kids. It's about them. It's just circuitous, always back to them.
Yes.
So I kind of what I thought we could cover today is just, some of the things to probably expect. And then, how you might be able to prepare for dealing with that type of behavior. And then I always do like to touch on the holiday hoover maneuver, and the reason for that, and it's such a a catchy name. We've done whole podcasts on hoovers and how narcissists use hoovers to lure people back in. But the holidays are a time when it is a real. Generally, people are emotional. They're feeling maybe lonely. It might be somebody that you've recently broken up with, or they've dumped you, they've discarded you, and they're looking for narcissistic supply. So it's a perfect time to drop a hoover and see whether or not you're going to respond. So let's talk about the ways that narcissists manipulate you during the holidays. Okay.
Wow.
So I have a list. I always come prepared with lists, but we can certainly, add or whatever we want to do during it. But one of the first things that, I think happens with narcissists during the holidays is that they try to sabotage your joy during the holiday festivities, right? And what are some of the ways that narcissists might do that, Lynn?
So, the whole thing about a narcissistic rage storm is that there's some narcissistic injury. So the injury is something that has hurt them in some way. They've perceived an offense. You've gotten more attention than them. The spotlight is on you somehow. Someone else.
Or the kids.
Someone else did something better than they did for you or the kids. And so these are all things that are going to make them really have that injury. And that's going to cause them to go into that rage.
The rage or the silent treatment, right? There's two sides to that coin always.
It's explosive or silent.
Right. So it's a lot of times you might get the sulking, the thing that people say a lot of times when they're talking about narcissists is, they have three channels, right? It's blame, self-pity, or rage, right? So you're going to watch them kind of channel through those, particularly during the holidays. You're going to see that. So let's say, I don't know, you fail to buy them the gift that they thought they deserved, or it's something that they didn't want, or who knows what, it could be anything, but they're going to punish you for it. And they're going to make you feel badly, and they're going to embarrass you in front of your guests, and they're going to embarrass you in front of your kids. They're going to run off and sulk and, leave the room. You mentioned your father would do things like this, go upstairs that's the big punishment, right? They're going to remove themselves from the gathering. But then, of course, you being you and an enabler and a codependent, you're going to feel guilty. You're going to want to run after them, see what you can do to
Please don't leave.
All of those things are things, by the way, not to do. But when you're still dealing and you're still in that space with a narcissist and they do something like this, that they're trying to one up everything, right? They don't, whatever's happening, they're not getting enough attention. They're not getting enough narcissistic supply. So they're going to create a situation that's going to pull you away from paying attention to your children, paying attention to your family members. Again, all about them. Right.
I can tell you a song that I saw, or a play that I saw every single year, was one where my father gave gifts to me, my husband, our children, and they were never gifts that we wanted, because he never took the time to get to know anyone well enough to buy them something they actually wanted. So what would happen is, you know, when you're given a gift, you're polite, you smile, you say thank you. He would later say to me, the thanks were okay.
Okay. Right.
Like we didn't make enough of a production out of the gifts that he gave us.
Absolutely, because they're not, narcissists aren't giving you a gift because they truly feel altruistic.
No.
They're doing it so that they can get the accolades, they can get it for impression management.
Tell them what a great gift giver they are. Tell them how generous they are. Tell them how
show
wonderful
off,
they are. Yes.
You know, look at me, look at what a great person I am. And so, even if it's, and that's interesting you bring that up, because my narcissist would do things like that also. Yeah. The gifts that he gave me had nothing to do with me at all. It was, you know, he would go out and he would buy things, first of all, buy things that he liked. That maybe he wanted, like an outfit or something that he wanted me to wear, but it was not my style, certainly nothing I would ever wear. But, you know, here, I'm going to buy this for you. Why are you not grateful? Right. So, yeah, and what is all those kinds of things. So, yeah, that's definitely one thing to be on the lookout for. So how, you know, we might as well just tackle this right away. If the narcissist is, you know, starts to behave this way during, you know, during a holiday gathering, what would you say? What advice would you give to the family members or the spouse or the significant other of how to deal with that?
So my advice would be to try your best to enjoy your holiday, not ignoring that person, but not kowtowing to them. So like I would tell you, you know their buttons, don't push them, okay? Try and stay on their script without the whole, you're the best gift giver, you're the best everything, because I could never do that because it wasn't genuine. But I do think there's something to be said for not challenging them. Don't humiliate them in front of everyone, because that is not going to lead down a good path. Right. And of all things, don't tell them what to do, because they're going to do the opposite and they're going to double down on the bad behavior.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I would give similar advice on that. I mean, obviously, you know, my my hope for everybody listening here today is that you've got no contact with your narcissist. So this is not something you're dealing with. But if this kind of stuff is out of your control, and or you're still going through the process of separating from your narcissist and have to deal with them in some way, my advice would be not engage. And I know that it's very, very difficult. I know how hard it is. You know, my clients all the time, and this is one of the most difficult challenges that they have. And when I, you know, over and over again, you know, they'll cry, they'll tell me all these horrible, terrible things that the narcissist is doing. And I'm constantly, you know, giving them the feedback to not engage.
Yes.
And that, you know,
I give that advice as well.
Right. Right. Okay. So one of the other things that, you know, I have on this list here is triangulation during the holidays. Triangulation is something that narcissists are infamous for. They love to triangulate you, whether it be with, like, you know, maybe at the holidays with their mother, or if you don't have a good relationship, or they don't have a good relationship with their mother, your mother-in-law. Maybe it's a sibling. Maybe it's an old girlfriend or boyfriend that they're, you know, suddenly coming back out of the scene that they're trying to triangulate you with and make you feel insecure or uncomfortable. But triangulation is a big thing that narcissists do. Why
is this? Well, it's number one, to create drama where there isn't any
drama,
right?
Yep.
And chaos. And they kind of like to sit back like the puppet master, I think, in this.
Oh yeah.
And it's about control. Like, they're controlling the situation. They're controlling the information you know, the information the other person knows. They're playing you against each other.
Right. And they're also depleting your resources, right? I mean, here you are with all of this stuff to, you know, get your home ready and decorated for the holidays. And, you know, you're thinking about buying gifts for everybody, and maybe you're going to be throwing a party or whatever. And all of a sudden they've got you worried about their mother isn't going to talk to you or isn't talking to you, or they've got you concerned because of some old romantic interest is in town and they're planning to meet that person. Who knows?
Awful.
Whatever it is, they're trying to throw you off your game. They're trying to make you feel unsure of yourself, insecure, and take your attention off of the things that are important, right? So again, where's your attention going to be?
Yep.
On them.
On them.
Yep.
I got to tell you, the first holiday that I had without my narcissistic father was the most peaceful, enjoyable, stress-free experience that I have ever had. And thank God everyone since. So
Yeah.
I wish that for all of you. I really do.
Yeah. We did already kind of touch on this, but purposely making sure that you get gifts, that they get you gifts you do not want while you spend time. We didn't talk about this, though, while you spend time and care getting the perfect gift for them. So it kind of would cut both ways, right? So they're getting you things that, are either things that they want, they like, they think, or huge impression management kind of things that, they think, oh, other people are going to look at this and think what a great person I am. Yeah. But in the meantime, you are spending all of this time thinking about what, you're thoughtful, you're caring, you think you know this person. And the hugest letdown is when you've spent all of this time, energy, and effort, and I've had this happen, I'm sure you did as well, and you give them something that you're sure that they're going to love, and they're disdainful about it, or not interested, or indifferent, or
indifferent, right? Completely indifferent. Yeah. And then guess what? Never wore it, never used it, never opened it,
in the closet,
put it on a shelf.
Yep. And again, this is all about power and control, right? These are insidious ways of causing you to feel inferior, for you to feel insecure.
Awful.
Any opportunity that they have to do this type of behavior in your day-to-day life, but particularly at the holidays, they're gonna amp it up. Yeah. So let's talk about actually there's one more here. Weaponizing social media.
So I have a few clients right now who have suffered from this.
Okay.
And so I think it's a very current, constant problem. And I see people doing it where they're trying to prove a point, they're trying to hurt other people by using social media. So let's say there's a disagreement in the family, people are using photographs to either mock other people or to define family without those people. And it's juvenile, and it's manipulative, and it smacks so loudly of anyone who suffers from narcissistic personality disorder.
Right. Well, again, I mean, my best advice to anybody that might be, looking at your ex's social media is to immediately block that person.
Yes.
There's no reason, and even if you share children together, that you should be, I think they call it pain dipping, right? That you should be exposing yourself to your ex-narcissist social media, because, of course they're gonna amp it up on the holidays. Again, impression management, right? Yep. So the new girl that they may have been dating for 3 weeks, they're gonna, splash across all of the social media, all the pictures of them having their fake perfect holiday and fun, and they're going on some great vacation. Or, guess what? They're getting engaged, right? They're getting married. Who knows? I mean, it's always going to be some big announcement and some drama, like you said. Yes. So the narc dipping or the pain dipping and going and checking out their social media, that's a big no-no. I really encourage people, and I know it's hard. I know it's really hard because, you're curious, you want to know what's going on in their lives, whatever, but the only person you're hurting by doing that is yourself. So I would encourage people to not just cut, block.
I feel like this goes back to your rule before, which is don't engage.
Right.
Don't engage.
Right. But it's a very deliberate kind of a thing, and it takes a lot of self-discipline and a lot of self-control to block the narcissist from having contact with you. But to kind of circle back around, in order to prevent the hoover or the holiday hoover maneuver, as we call it, you have to block these people from your life. They can't get to you if they're blocked. So
please tell everybody, because we're dying to know what is the holiday
hoover maneuver. Well, the holiday hoover maneuvers is again, it's they're going to dip back into your life. So that the definition, anybody who's listening to this podcast or has educated themselves on narcissistic abuse knows that narcissists love to hoover. They love to check the temperature to see of previous supply to determine whether or not that person might still be primed to get pulled back in. And that behavior has been labeled hoover after the Hoover vacuum cleaner, right? To kind of pull you, hoover you back into the relationship. Right. Now, if you've completely insulated yourself by blocking their number, blocking their social media, if you're a parent, making sure that all your communication is through a parenting app and that they can only communicate about the health, welfare, and education of your children, so they can't attempt to hoover you or talk to you about things other than that. You have to really, I know myself included, people who got hoovered on LinkedIn, because people don't think about LinkedIn when they start blocking their narcissist on social media. You block Facebook, you block Instagram, you block Twitter, but you don't consider LinkedIn. So here's my here's my holiday advice to anybody who's listening. Don't forget LinkedIn, because they will find you there if they can't find you somewhere else. So it's really going through and blocking email, blocking, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But if you haven't done that yet, you're susceptible to the hoover. Yeah. And the hoover is just that. They're going to drop in, they're going to, send you a text. It may be, how are you, thinking about you, hoping you're enjoying your holidays, miss your family, how's your mom? Are you going to be in town this weekend? Who knows? I mean, it could be a deliberate kind of a text like that. And, or one of the things they love to do is send a cryptic text that makes you think that maybe it was a mistaken text and maybe it wasn't meant for you, so that you're going to text them back and say, hey, what did that mean? Or did you realize you texted me? Of course, by the way, everything they do is deliberate. So they know they're trying to pique your interest and get you to respond. And they could also send, who knows, a desperate text causing you to feel like you need to run over there and take care of them. Maybe they threaten to harm themselves. There's so many different ways that narcissists hoover. They'll leave a card on your windshield or flowers on your doorstep, or you'll get something in the mail with no card on it, okay, that will maybe cause you to think, gee, I wonder who sent it, you know what I mean? And then reach out to them that way. So you have to protect yourself from, and the holidays, as I said earlier, is the time when, if you haven't gotten hoovered all year, expect the hoover, okay? Because this is when, number one, they tend to be short on supply for whatever reasons, because of all the things we talked about earlier. The people's attention are elsewhere. Yeah. So they're looking for that hit of narcissistic supply, and or they recognize your vulnerability during the holidays. Maybe, you've just suffered a recent breakup, you're lonely, you're sad, the stress of the holidays makes people vulnerable. There's lots of reasons why people are vulnerable for holidays. Sure. So we just, again, protect yourselves. Yes. Protect yourselves and make sure that the narcissist can't get to you. Yes. Okay. And if they do, please don't respond, because what happens when you respond to a hoover is you're going to fall right down the rabbit hole again. Yeah. And this is certainly, if you've done work and you've made some progress in getting past this and moving past the narcissist, responding to a hoover could set you back, could set you back months, could set you back emotionally. Yeah. So it's a really dangerous kind of a time. Yeah. Okay. Some of the other things that I wanted to talk about, Lynn, is that, visitation and parenting time challenges. Okay. Because when you're going through a separation or a divorce with a narcissist, they tend to, the holidays are also very emotionally charged times. And unless you have a very clear parenting holiday schedule, which, by the way, I highly advise, make sure in any parenting agreement that it's never as the parties may agree and arrange. No. Holiday schedule and times for pickup and drop off and all that kind of stuff, okay? Because they will try to push the envelope. They will try to manipulate. Yeah. They will keep the kids longer. They'll act like it. They don't realize that it's your holiday, and they think it's their holiday. Wow. And one of the other things that they do is they put the kids in the middle. Yes, they're not thinking about their children. No. Okay, they're thinking about, again, ways to hurt you.
Yes.
So, of course, again, people are sensitive and emotional at the holidays. So you're going to see an increase in this type of behavior as well.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, financial games and manipulation around finances. Maybe they're going to be late with child support, things of that nature. So it's going to be more stress and more anxiety that you're feeling because, you were counting on that money, you were depending on that money. So these kinds of things, what I would suggest to people is if the narcissist is violating a court order, do not let them get away with that. Yeah. There has to be consequences for violations of court orders. And I would suggest that if your narcissist is behaving in this way and manipulating the custody schedule or not paying child support, you need to contact your attorney and you need to file violation petitions so that the narcissist does feel consequences for their actions that they do, if they do attempt to try to do these things during the holidays.
And the other thing, Hope, I feel like if someone is listening to this podcast or you're watching us on YouTube and you feel helpless and you feel isolated, please reach out to the Center for Hope Western New York. Center for Hope, WNY.org has all of our resources there. We have a bunch of free resources, and then you can contact us, and we have so many great providers that can help you, because please talk to somebody. And we have qualified people who are trained in these areas to help you.
Yes. And with that, I'd like to say happy holidays to everybody listening. I hope you have a narc-free holiday. And if you're not able to have a narc-free holiday, boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Yes. And we will see you next time in 2024.